Welcome to the SportsBros Podcast with your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. Also, the almighty B-Live and the money man, Scotty D. And now, without any further ado, here they are, the SportsBros. What's going on, world? This be your boy, the head of creative here at the SportsBros Podcast, Eddie Cool, and welcome to episode 8, Ocho, or as they say in Swedish, Atta, aka the 8th episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. As I mentioned before, I am the head of creative, the HOC up in here, Eddie Cool. And as always, I'm flanked by the almighty B-Live.
What's going on in the world today? What's happening? You're probably wondering why we're announcing our 8th episode in Swedish. Because we got a man in Stockholm listening to us. Shout out across the pond, man. We love it. What's happening?
We love it. We absolutely love it. Hey, it makes up a small percentage of our audience, but you know what? That goes to show someone somewhere in Stockholm is listening to the Sports Bros Podcast. And of course, we can't forget the man that was literally on one last week, the money man, Scotty D.
Oh, sorry, guys. I nodded off there. I was up late last night watching the Avengers. That movie was longer than WrestleMania, so I'm a little tired.
Hold on. No. As long as you don't mention any spoilers, you can continue. But if you say one spoiler, I will come through this podcast and I will fight you.
I'm sorry.
I am spoiler respectful. I would not do that. I will just tell you that when I left the Infinity Wars movie, I was pumped up. And last night, I was not pumped up. I know a lot of people were really excited about this movie. I just didn't like it nearly as much as the others. So there's that. Anyway, I'm ready to rock and roll and talk a little sports, man. A lot going on this past weekend.
Yeah. Also, don't you know I almost got into it with someone on Facebook about the Avengers Endgame spoilers. I was like, spoilers, huh? You can't hold water. And I had to find myself, I don't know what joy people get out of that. Like, hey, I'm going to do the spoilers and make you guys mad. I mean, at the tender age of 36, I still want to be surprised. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I still want to be surprised. Hey, just because you want to be, the spoiler, don't mess it up for us, because 22 movies has led to this point, and if you want to spoil it, then it's just. Yeah.
I've fought tooth and nail. I have gone through the ringer. I have spent many a time, invested a lot of time into this moment right here. I have it. I'm ready. 4:00 IMAX 3D on tomorrow. Well, it would be today when. It'll be Tuesday.
Yes.
A spoiler alert. We record on Monday and publish on Tuesday. There you go. Now you know the secrets behind the Sports Bros. We digress. Sports. Eddie Cool. Hit it.
Take a peek behind the curtain of the Sports Bros Podcast. Well, anyways, enough of us talking about spoilers of Game of Thrones and Avengers Endgame. Let's go ahead and dabble into the world of sports. And fellas, it is action-packed, which I'm pretty sure you already know, and as well as our listeners. Once again, to our listeners, thank you. We love you, and we appreciate you. All right, we're going to start with the NFL Draft recap. There is so much that happened this past Thursday night in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, Scotty D, we're going to start with you first, because as we know, Kyler Murray goes number 1 to Arizona Cardinals. Are you surprised or not, Scotty?
No, I wasn't really surprised, because I felt like the arrow was pointing that way, but they didn't really show their hand, I think, and that was mainly because they were trying to protect their trade equity with Josh Rosen. And I think it was day 2 when he finally got shipped out of there. But I'm hearing who won the draft, who came up with the good picks, the bad pick. Man, we don't know. It's too early. Last year, didn't we all kind of think that the Browns made a mistake by taking Baker Mayfield number 1? We thought, well, he could have had him at number 4, and maybe Sam Darnold was better, and blah blah blah. Well, I mean, we still don't know any of that, but we feel pretty good about what they did a year ago. I mean, that draft, at least we've seen some of the players play, but it's too early to tell. I didn't think Kyler Murray was a guy that I would want to build a franchise around. I thought, being the number 1 overall was a little high for him. But I'm doing a podcast from North Myrtle Beach. I'm not an NFL scout, so I'm not getting paid for that. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. I think the Cardinals made a mistake either this year or last year because they took a quarterback in the number 1 choice 2 years in a row. So somewhere a mistake is made, I got to say.
Yeah, I fully understand it, man. It's just I'm like, as soon as they picked him, and I was like, well, Josh Rosen is as good as gone. It's just a matter of time. B-Live, where you at on the whole Cardinals selecting Kyler Murray going to Arizona with the first overall pick?
Well, you know what? I'm going to disagree with Scotty D because it's never too early to predict, because if we waited until a year or 2 years to figure out what exactly is going on, the three of us wouldn't have this podcast.
True.
We got to have something to talk about. At the end of the day, yes, it's always going to be too early to tell. But you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay because everything right now is geared toward Kyler Murray being that dynamic player. I think that, Cleveland Browns reached and got Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield has literally turned that franchise around in every sense of the word. And if you can come up with a cookie cutter pattern of a quarterback, really, there you go. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. They're cut from the same cloth. If you really want to talk about it, Oklahoma quarterbacks, Heisman winner, playoff was in the college football playoff. Now they go number 1 in the draft. I think he adds that flair. And if you're talking about the Josh Rosen trade, Arizona may have gotten it wrong last year, but they got it absolutely right this year. They picked them at first round draft pick. I don't know. Then they trade him away for what? They ended up getting a player and 2 more draft picks this year or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe they got a little value out of him. Maybe he went too early. But I think they may have rectified it. Like I said, the jury is still out. So I think it's not a bad move. Anytime you draft a quarterback, it's going to be risky. But I can tell you who may have gotten it wrong, and the entire world is talking about it. The Giants. What are you doing?
I'm glad you brought it up because I'm reading something, and Dave Gettleman, the former Carolina Panthers GM, now the current New York Giants GM, he just said, we'll see how crazy I am in 3 years. Now, in case you're wondering, what are we talking about? Well, but we're just going to remind you again. The Giants had a chance to draft Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. Let me just run this by you again. Dwayne Haskins, the same guy who threw for 50 touchdowns in the Big Ten last year. I think it was 50 touchdowns, maybe like a handful of interceptions.
50 to 8.
Okay, yes. I was all about one from 50 to 8. And they select Daniel Jones from the University of Duke. Now, in the words of the almighty B-Live, what happened on Thursday? Because I see it like this. From what people tell me that Daniel Jones is a smart kid. He went to he originally was going to an Ivy League school. Ivy League college, but I guess something fell apart and something didn't work accordingly like he wanted to. So he wound up at Duke. Well, I'll give him credit. He took a Duke team to the record of 8-5 this year with the talent that he has, because as you know, he plays in the ACC, whereas Clemson, Florida State, and then everybody else.
Did you dare put Florida State up there with us still?
I said Clemson, Florida State, and then everybody else.
You can't put Florida.
Do you need me to send you a cotton swab? Because I got plenty of them.
You cannot put Florida State in that conversation right now. But you know what? I digress. I want to say this. I'm going to throw this in here real quick because I'm going to try to play devil's advocate and stop me if I'm going too long with it. But
devil's advocate. No, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at some measurables though, and that a lot of people did not see. They just saw the stats. Daniel Jones, 6'5", 220. Dwayne Haskins, 6'3", 231. So Dwayne Haskins a little bit bulkier. One thing that sort of stuck out for me real quick. Guess, and I'm all stereotypes included. Guess which one of the two ran a faster 40-yard dash?
It was Dwayne Haskins.
You are dead wrong.
Yikes.
Dead wrong. Dwayne
guy's faster?
Yes, yes. Dwayne Haskins ran a 5.04 40-yard dash, which is ridiculously slow for a quarterback. Daniel Jones ran a 4.81. So not only does the kid stand 2 inches taller, is a little bit slimmer, he also is faster at the gun than Dwayne Haskins. So, I mean, yeah, there's some measurables out there. You can throw the IQ test, the Wonderlic test out there. Maybe. I mean, the Giants may have saw something. One of the big things that people tend to allude from is the fact that David Cutcliffe was also the guy that developed Peyton and Eli Manning.
Oh.
So there's already that relationship. And sometimes the relationship with a team and management goes a lot further than 50 touchdowns and his only starting season with Ohio State. Some people saying that we've only gotten 1 year of wear and tear, experience. Sometimes experience.
That's the thing when it comes to these crapshoot quarterbacks in the first round. I mean, I kept hearing that the Giants made a huge mistake. Well, we only see what Mel Kiper's talking about on TV. We don't know what they're looking for in their meeting rooms and who they're evaluating. Personally, I hope both guys suck because they're playing in the NFC East and they got to face the Cowboys 4 times a year together. So let's go Cowboys. I hope those boys turn out to be turds and they set those teams back for 5 years each. So I'm hoping for 2 clunkers there. That's where I'm at, buddy.
There we go. And it all alludes back to the Cowboys.
Didn't we get tell me, didn't we already talk about Clemson first? It took longer to get to the Cowboys than it did to Clemson there, B-Live. So just go ahead and sit back and relax.
It's okay.
Wow, boy. Here we go.
Any Clemson players get drafted this past week?
We getting there. We're going to get there. We're going to talk about it.
See what you about to do, Scott. See what you about to do, Scott. See what you are about to do, Scott.
I'm holding back. Because this whole podcast will be filled with Clemson because there's a lot to talk about. But I'm not going to do that.
All hail Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo.
Deep breaths, woosah, all in, bleed orange. All right, cool. I'm back.
Here we go. All right. So, we cooked with hot grease this morning. All right, so here we go. So everyone thinks that the Giants did whiff on that Haskins and Daniel Jones. B-Live gave us some measurables. I've also seen a video of Daniel Jones just to see this guy. Because, I'm up here in Northeast Ohio, and if it ain't scarlet and red, then it ain't right. So I took it upon my, journalistic integrity skills that I've learned at Ashford University. Shout out to me graduating in October.
Right on.
To be objective and see both sides of the spectrum. I went to go look at a video of Daniel Jones, and there were several times where he was moving the chains with his feet. So, in a division such as the NFC East and a team that he's playing on, such as the Giants, he gonna need to dance just a little bit. But I hope it works out for everybody, because I hate seeing draft bust. I mean, you'll wind up being talked about like the Johnny Manziels and the Ryan Leafs and the Trent Richardsons of the world, but I digress. Also, stud wide receiver from Ole Miss, DK Metcalf, he goes to the Seahawks on day 2 of the draft. Scotty D, how do you feel about that?
DJ Metcalf looks like a Greek god, but that doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL. So I'm not sure. Again, I know I'm starting to get a little repetitive saying I'm not really, it's too early to evaluate and tell. What I thought was kind of a cool thing that came out of the draft is, as wide receivers goes, this Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown's cousin, they're calling him Hollywood Brown. He got drafted by the Ravens, and I just actually heard this on another telecast on the radio yesterday. But this guy, by playing with the Ravens this year, will have played with 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners. He was playing for Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and now he'll be playing with Lamar Jackson. So that's got to be I would think an unprecedented kind of deal going into the NFL, that someone's playing with the 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners. Personally, I wouldn't. I'm a little leery of Marquise Brown, because Antonio Brown is his cousin, so you got to think that's his hero, and that's what he knows from the NFL. He gets from Antonio Brown, and good career in Pittsburgh, but kind of a bad ending there, and the behavioral things of the Antonio Brown are still in question. We'll see. He's his own man, but I thought that Marquise Brown might have been kind of a steal there. I like him.
He's even got a nickname, Hollywood Brown. Ain't played a single down, but you Hollywood Brown. But all right, B-Live, how you feel about DK Metcalf going to the Seahawks on day 2 of the NFL draft?
I'm going to agree with Scotty D. The jury is still out. There has to be a reason why this Adonis of a man, pause.
Pause. Hold up.
He goes day 2. He ran a 4.33 40. Like what this? I can only imagine this guy full speed. He's going to run somebody over. He's going to kill somebody. But there's maybe it's his route running, maybe it's his hands. So I said the jury's still out. So I mean, he got the $140 million man throwing the ball to him. So I mean, it could be some magic in the air. We'll see. I don't like the Seahawks. I'm not a 12th man fan, because the Seahawks and the Panthers have a little rivalry going on. I mean, little bit. So a little beef, a little such and such going on.
The Seahawks kind of had to make a move there, though, because from what we're hearing, Doug Baldwin, he might be about done.
Yeah, I saw that he might have played his last NFL down due to multiple injuries. So it's been a collection of injuries, and the doctors are saying that he may not return at all. So going day 2, DK Metcalf, I think is going to be a good pick, a good fit.
You going to take him in your fantasy football team?
No.
Oh wow, that was a quick hard no.
No.
I got a lot of research to do, because unfortunately for me, I missed out last year's fantasy football, but I do plan on coming back with a vengeance. I am the 3-time fantasy football champion of the KFL.
Oh, there you go.
That would be...
Wow, he's bragging he's the KFC champion.
the
Oh, KFL.
KFL,
I thought you.
the cool football
Yes.
I
league.
thought maybe you won a bucket of original for winning the
He won a bucket
See,
against us 3 years in a row.
KFC champion.
now
You get a
I
bucket
would
of original as your prize.
I would like a bucket of extra crispy and KFC. If you want to sponsor the Sports Bros, we wouldn't be
Yeah,
Not
mad
right.
mad
at
at all. Not mad at all.
I'm
Because
telling
we have been working on putting together. Well, we ain't gonna let the cat out of the bag. Let's just say if you want to sponsor the Sports Bros podcast or run ads on the podcast, holla at us. Let us know, and we'll put that on the top. We'll put a cap on that. But yeah, as far as that DK Metcalf situation, I think the Seahawks are like, look, there's nothing really out here in free agency, so let's go ahead and grab DK Metcalf while we can before someone else does. Also, want to mention Will Grier going to the Carolina Panthers. I think that is a good choice because the kid's a baller.
West
The kid's a
Virginia.
baller. Yes, he's a baller, and he's played in a conference where defense. What is that? So he's definitely a competitor, and I don't want to say he's nipping at Cam's heels, but I would like to say that Will Grier is a insurance policy, if you will.
I say, if anything, the boy is going to sling the rock. He's going to throw the ball. I don't know how many times he threw for 700, 800, 900 yards with 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He's gonna throw the ball. So I mean, there's no doubt about his ability to throw it out there. And I think he's one of those high risk, high reward type players. He's good for a couple of interceptions, but he will definitely spread out the field, and he's gonna sling it. And I think good insurance policy because the Panthers badly needed a backup quarterback. They should have shelved Cam Newton a while ago last season and just went with a backup and just sort of managed the rest of the season as opposed to Cam clearly not being able to throw the ball 10, 15 yards down the field. Then you got to bring in a backup quarterback just to throw a Hail Mary. They knew he was injured a long time back, and they kept thinking that he was the best viable option. That's sad.
It's the classic case of other people having to save you from yourself. That's what I think. And I think after the Pittsburgh game, just like you said, when they had to bring the backup quarterback in to throw in a Hail Mary, and Cam has a cannon when healthy, so that should have been like, red flags. No, you got to sit this man down, go ahead and eat this season and get ready for the next season and just go ahead and take care of him and make sure he's good and move forward after that. All right, fellas, the draft is in the books, and we'll see game 1 of the regular season. Now it's time. Playoffs? Yes, that's right.
Playoffs.
We are talking about the NBA playoffs, and we have went to the second round of the NBA playoffs. And let's see, according to my notes, papers, and statistics, if you will, the Celtics and the Bucks, an intriguing series, and the C's are up 1-0 versus the Bucks. And our listener, Brian Gardner, shout out to BG, Brian Gardner, he asked us, so what do you guys think of this Bucks-Celtics series? Who do you got and how many games? Be live. Where you at?
Man, I'm gonna say this, and I'll divulge into this a little bit later in the podcast because we have another segment coming up. But the way that the Celtics came out and played in Game 1, it would not surprise me right now to see the Celtics win this in 5 games.
Got them in 5? Okay.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna change it around, flip it, reverse it. I'm gonna say the Celtics in 5 because they came out, and I think that cohesiveness, they didn't show it during the regular season, but once again the NBA has proven and shown that the regular season don't mean diddly when it comes to getting into these playoffs. I mean, you could throw home field advantage out of the window. I mean, it just comes down to who's gonna ball and who's not. And a lot is asked of the Greek Freak, and Al Horford flat out, I mean, just made him into a completely different person. Dared him to shoot it. When he brought it in, he D'd him up, blocked him, and just Gordon Hayward, he's doing his thing. Kyrie's being Kyrie. I mean, if you're looking at star power, if you're looking at coaching, you're looking at all of the intangibles. I mean, the Celtics have got the Bucks matched up through and through. So, I mean, even the experience level, I mean, and it's not even that much experience, but the matter is that Boston made it last year without their two superstars. Now you've got the two superstars back, and now they're gelling with the guys that already made it. So, I mean, I'm saying Celtics in 5.
Let's see. I will give my quick pick, and I'm going to say Celtics in 6. It's going to be a fight, so Celtics in 6. Just as you opined upon B Live, Boston is at full strength, something that they weren't at last year. And like you said, you got your you have everyone's healthy, everyone's there, ready, willing, and able to play and contribute. So I'm saying the Celtics in 6. Scotty D, where you at?
I'm not going to pick the Bucks to sweep. I'm going to scratch that already. We're starting way late here on the predictions on this.
Good answer. That was a safe answer.
I'm going to rule out Bucks sweep. No, I think Celtics in 6 too. I said last week on our show here that I thought that the Celtics were starting to peak at the right time, and I saw early in the game yesterday they did an interview with Giannis where he talked about hating going home early last year, and they really didn't want to let that happen. And I think they put the pressure on themselves with that kind of interview, with that kind of thought process. And to me, they looked tight early in the game yesterday, and the Celtics looked like they were just doing their thing. And I think the Bucks ended up shooting, like 33%, 34% yesterday. Mm-hmm. And Giannis only scored 22. I mean, that's a lot for most players, but that's, it wasn't his typical game. Like you said, Al Horford held him down pretty well. I just thought the Celtics looked like the more loose team, and the Bucks they were kind of psyched out, and there went the home court. That's what they fought for all year, and it's already gone. So Celtics in 6. I think I think because Game 6 would be in Boston, that would be your final game.
Yep, the final score of that game was 112-90. So, Kyrie had 26, Giannis had 22. Al Horford led all rebounders with 11, and assists. Kyrie got 11 of them things, 11 assists. Moving on from that series, the next series we got the 76ers versus the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard, also known as and they go up 1-0 in the series. And I'll go ahead and say it, guys. Right now in the NBA, my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard. Okay? He is Kawhi Leonard because, think about it. The 76ers let a dude wearing New Balance beat them.
Not the New Balance.
The New Balance. The Mall Walker 5s? Yes. They let a dude in New Balance beat them. But I don't care what kind of shoe you put on Kawhi Leonard. He's going to ball flat out. He's a great all-around player. As far as I'm concerned, he's my MVP because he plays offense and defense, unlike the king of flop and fluff, James Harden. But I digress. Speaking of the Western Conference, the Rockets and the Warriors edged the Rockets to take a 1-0 lead, and James Harden was shooting a three-pointer, I think, towards the ends of the game, and it was just a horrible, horrible sell job. My 3-year-old nephews do a better job of selling than he does, okay? And they're babies, and he's a grown man. What you think about that series, guys? Who's going to take it? Who you got?
Man, I'm gonna say this. We all know who's gonna take it, and it was an indicator. Like, I see. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say the Warriors in 6. I think Houston's gonna get a couple of games, but The simple fact of the matter that the referees did not allow that silliness that James Harden has been doing all season long. Thank you for being in playoff mode, referees. I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face. He's been doing it all season. And people have been, oh my God, James Harden is this. He's the MVP, scoring like unbelievable. And I'm like, dude, this guy, I mean, he is taking advantage of every single rule that we grew up. That is the dude travels all the time, and in his shooting form, he kicks out his legs. He tries to initiate contact with every single shot. That step back, and then he steps back and then jumps back into the shot. How do you do that? That defies physics. You know why he does that? Because he initiates contact so many times. He gets that call, and the reason why he's averaging 58 points a game is because he's going to the free throw line 30 times a game because of that same silliness. Come at me if you think, listeners, if you think I'm wrong, feel free. Let me know. Tell me something different. But I'm telling you, thank you, refs, for not calling that crap.
Listen, I'm listening, and I'm not going to disagree with you wholeheartedly on that because as superstars go, James Harden's one of my least favorite to watch because of that. I think he does get away with extra steps to get his shot off a lot of times. And like you said, he flies into people and kicks his legs out and gets those foul calls. But yesterday there were a few occasions where he should have, and actually in Chris Paul too, the referees did not call that on letting them land. Same thing that happened in the NCAA tournament. Remember we were talking about that a couple weeks ago where I didn't like that foul call being called. These were worse yesterday. Different, obviously, NBA and college is a little bit different the way they're called. But a couple times I thought that they should have gotten those calls, and the league even admitted it. They told them at halftime that they missed a few of those. So yesterday I thought the referees just lost control of that game. Talking about the Sunday game, I think they lost control. They were dishing out technicals. Chris Paul got tossed. Draymond always gets technicals anyway, so that was no big deal.
So what's new? Yep, Draymond gets tossed. In other news,
but when it comes down to it, I think this series goes 7. To be honest with you, I think the Rockets have enough fight to win their home games, but ultimately I'm sticking with Golden State to win the whole thing again this year. I mean, that's not really a big stretch to go out and say I think the Warriors are going to win it all, but. This is the fight that they're going to have. They win this series, then I don't see them really being challenged much. Not by the West anyway.
I'm picking GS Dubs in 6. Houston's going to give a fight. CP3 is going to try his best. Clint Capella's going to do what he can. Harden's going to do the triple F, the flop, flail, and fly. I remember a few months ago I listened to a podcast and they said the way they say that James Harden plays a cute style of basketball, and I was like, no, he doesn't. And I looked and I was like, okay, I see what you mean. So I'm just not,
ain't nothing cute about that beard. I'm going to tell you that.
I mean, the beard's weird, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm just not sold on James Harden because just play basketball. Don't worry about the extra theatrics. I understand trying to get over, which is a wrestling term, trying to get over to the referees to get a foul call, to get calls and everything. But come on, dude. Just like you said, Be Live. Yeah, you score about 11,000 points because you at the line 950,000 doggone times. But either way, it's neither here nor there. What brought me great joy last week was seeing Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar, Dame time, waving Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder off of the court. And then Damian Lillard became a meme. Gotta love the sport of basketball. Got to love the sport of basketball. If you don't know who Damian Lillard was or he is, you now know. And speaking of the Portland Trail Blazers and the Nuggets, game 1 is today. It'll be Tuesday we hear this, but game 1 is on Monday night. So who we got in that series, fellas? The Trail Blazers waving bye, or the Nuggets doing what they do?
I'm just going to say Trailblazers, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to talk about this series because they're the winner of this one loses to Golden State. And that's all I have to say about that.
How about you, Be Live?
I'm gonna give it a little bit more intrigue than that. I'm going with the Trailblazers as well. I mean, just Dame Dollar is sitting on a cloud right now. He is floating right now, the way he's been balling out. And Denver struggled, and I mean they struggled against a Spurs team that it was underwhelming at best. All the props to Greg Popovich, but I mean, just really name anybody on the Spurs right now. I mean,
Patty Mills.
I mean, you're talking about LaMarcus Aldridge. And you're talking about what my dude name that came from Toronto? See, I
DeMar DeRozan,
David Robinson, Sean Elliott.
Okay, that's
Tiago Splitter.
Wow,
Tiago Splitter.
Jesus Lord, how. Timmy Duncan, since we're just naming random.
It doesn't matter who puts on a Spurs uniform.
George Gervin.
I don't watch the Spurs.
but it's one of those things where Denver struggled against the Spurs. And I mean, I chalk a little bit of that to Greg Popovich, but the Spurs were underwhelming at best this entire season. Denver, I don't see it happening.
All right, so we got the NBA West out the way. So in that series, it kind of doesn't matter who we pick because you got to hail to the Kings, not Sacramento, but the Golden State Warriors. And speaking of rusty and things of that nature, Scott, I remember when the question was asked about the New York Islanders, is it going to be relaxation? What you asked, was it going to be rest or rust? Well, from the looks of it, in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, it's a bunch of rust, and they need some WD-40. They need to oil the joints because they go down 2-0 real quick to America's favorite bunch of jerks, the Carolina Hurricanes. Scotty D, I know you got something to say about this. I know I can feel it. What you got to say about it?
Well, I was kind of hoping they were going to let the Penguins back in the playoffs.
Oh, boy.
Just because I was more interested in that. But no, good for you guys. You guys like the Hurricanes, and I like we were talking about last week. I think it takes a little bit out of you when you're sitting that long. Usually in the NHL, I don't think the NHL, the rust usually lasts as long as it does in other sports, especially like baseball. If you sit for 10 days, if you sweep a series and you're waiting for another series winner, it takes you a little bit of your timing off. I don't know if it's just rust. I just think that Carolina's just playing better, to be honest with you. I mean, there may have been a little rust on that first period in game one, but I just think Carolina's playing better. We'll see.
Yeah, Peter Mrazek got he left the game with an undisclosed injury, and the other goalie he came in, I forgot his name, but he came in and was serviceable because after that, I think second intermission, Carolina said, you know what, we're going to climb up out this one old hole, and we're going to put two on them. We're going to hang two on them. And that's what they did, man. They're playing some great hockey right now, man. I think they're a dangerous team in the playoffs, and if I was an opposing team, I would want to see them right now. B-Lav, how you feel about those jerks?
Oh, man. Well, you already know how I'm loving it. I'm going absolutely crazy at work with the games coming on. I actually got to watch it at home yesterday. They gave me a day off at Max Speed Shop on 482 North McPherson Church Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Go by the speed shop and get you a good old burger.
Yes, sir. And waiting on that sponsorship. Holla. But yeah, as far as the backup goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes, you're speaking of Curtis Meckelin.
All right.
Yeah, I think I might have pronounced that wrong. But again, but I will say this: it's been a defensive battle. It has been, the goalies have been showing all the way out, even for the Islanders, because it was 0-0 going into overtime. One thing I will say about this series, as opposed to the last series that Carolina played, is that the Islanders are beating them at the puck. They're beating them at the face-off, but I think there's just Carolina is a much faster team, and so but the Islanders in both games, I mean, they came out stronger They're laying the hits on Carolina, and even the Islanders were up 1-0, and then the beginning of that third period, just that quickly, 48 seconds,
Boom, boom.
2 goals, boom, boom, and then Carolina's up, and they win 2 games on the road. And guess what the Islanders have to do? They have to come back to PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I can tell you an hour away in Fayetteville, I can feel the storm surge. It is one of the toughest places to play in the NHL today. I predict a sweep. Bring out the broom. Carolina in 4.
Ooh, you gonna bust out the broom.
I'm busting out the broom. I'm busting out the cigarette on the side of the mouth. New York Islanders, Rikers Island, Alcatraz Island, Galapagos
Pacific
Island.
Islanders, it don't matter. Canes and foes.
It don't matter. Exactly. You know the meme is happening. I'm telling you. I'm loving it.
Oh man, so all right, so that's that with the jerks. Keep doing what you do. The Blue Jackets who put that Stomp Jackson on the on the Tampa Bay Lightning. That series is tied at 1-1. And speaking of series being tied at 1-1, in the Western Conference, the Stars and the Blues tied at 1 apiece. And the Avalanche and Sharks are also tied at 1 apiece. And that's the recap for the NHL and NBA playoffs. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm excited about actually watching hockey playoffs again because there's nothing like the Stanley Cup playoffs. Because I think out of all the sports, this is the toughest championship to get to, and I have nothing but respect for all the teams playing, but I got a special place in my heart because Carolina will always and forever be my home. Let's get them jerks. All right, we didn't have it last week, but it is back like bad breath in the morning or with a vengeance. The listener section of our show, of our program, the Sports Bros Podcast, your favorite non-professional sports podcast. Let's see what we have here. We have a listener section where last week, what was the question, Scotty D, about predictions? What was it?
Yeah, we're always quick to jump out there and say, I told you so, or I called it. But it's time to fess up and tell us, and we'll do the same. I'm going to share with you times that we made predictions that we're like, wow, that was just flat out wrong. That was bad.
All right. So speaking of dead wrong predictions, we got quite a few here. We got quite a few included wrong. JR Speaks. Shout out to JR Speaks, Big J Smooth.
JR.
Yes, sir. When the Falcons beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You were halfway right, and then the bottom fell out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should have been right.
Yeah. You would have been, a happy man just walking around, ha. You guys lost the Super Bowl, but then again, the greatness of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the fall apart of the Falcons just came about. Hey, nothing personal, Falcons. It is what it is, all right? Never forget 328. The next one is Stephen Delamore. This is a good one. The 2003 Big 12 Football Championship. It was Oklahoma versus Kansas State, and he predicted OU to win by a landslide. But then K-State came back and said, we got something to say, and they destroyed Oklahoma 35-7. That wasn't when what's the kid name? Optimus Klein, Kellen Klein was playing. No, that was before then. Or was that the Michael Bishop K-State team?
I think it was the Hefty Lefty was quarterback in that game.
Now, see, I done told you, Ricochet was my most see athlete.
I think it was the Hefty Lefty.
Oh.
Kentucky.
That tickles me. That.
I got something for your Cowboys later on. So I'm gonna let you slide, Clyde. Okay. All right. My man Eli Kavanaugh said he thought that Mitchell Trubisky would be a bust, and as we stated earlier, it's a little bit too early to predict. If they're going to be good or not. But
kid was all right last year.
Yeah, he was all right last year. Yeah, he was serviceable. I will say that. He was serviceable. and he had a decent running game and a hellified defense to help him out. So that always helps you be good as well too. As Trent Dilfer. Let's see, Corey Rayner. Oh, this is a good one. The 16-0 Patriots winning the Super Bowl against the Giants to be 18-0, only to lose to the New York Football Giants. I wonder how many pounds of crow was served Monday morning. How many people lost money and won a bunch of money? I'm telling you, man, I bet Vegas was tripping when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. Because I know I was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I know who was celebrating. Not only was it the New York Giants, but it was also the 1972 Miami Dolphins. They were definitely celebrating that. They had the cigars out and everything, because they still remain the only undefeated team in NFL history.
It's like this. They spent a majority of the season sweating. And then once that clock said 0-0-0, we can stop sweating and we can start celebrating. Hey, that's crazy, man. Think about it. Every year when the last undefeated team loses, they pop champagne. That must feel great. Like, hey, we did this and can't nobody top it.
We're talking 47 years later, they still celebrating it. Hey, it's one of those things. Will it ever happen? I don't actually, honestly. The wear and tear of an NFL football season, it is incredibly difficult to go undefeated. So I don't ever see it happening again. I don't see a team being that dominant. And I mean, the Patriots were as close as they could be. If I'm not mistaken, was that the Randy Moss?
It was.
year?
Yes.
But here I told you earlier I wasn't going to give you any spoilers. I'm going to give you one this year. Dallas Cowboys 16-0, winning the Super Bowl this coming February. So there you go. Spoiler alert.
Bless America.
Spoiler alert.
All right.
With
What
Dak,
else you got, Eddie? Cool.
with Dak and Jerry and Zeke and
sounds like a defeat team.
Hey, you know what, Scotty D, I'm so happy you said that, because you picked the perfect segment to say that, because we're talking about dead wrong predictions. You picked the perfect moment for that. Love you. Thank
Next,
you.
what else
Yes.
you got?
Also, I want to give a shout out to my man Eli Kavanaugh, who has a wrestling podcast on YouTube called the Heels Podcast. When you get a chance, man, go ahead and check it out, man. Real funny, real entertaining. Let's see. My dead wrong prediction was when we're saying that the Rams were going to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Not this Super Bowl, but the first time they played, and I was dead wrong because I didn't see it coming, and I was like, well, I'll never be a master predictor again. So yeah, that's mine. That's my one prediction I got wrong. I was like, you know what? The Rams, the greatest show on turf. They got Mike Martz at coach. They got Kurt Warner. They got everybody in there. They're gonna smoke the New England Patriots only to get extinguished them damn selves. So that's my prediction.
Well, that's a
wrong.
great one, Eddie. And I'll tell you, we have a new listener from the Sunshine State named Riley, and he gave me a couple of his, and that was one of the ones that he also mentioned that, you know, back then at the time, the greatest show on turf was looking like that was going to be the next dynasty.
Yep.
And then look at all these years later, the Patriots are now the dynasty. But I think everybody was wrong on that one. I think we all thought that the greatest show on turf. So Riley from Florida actually agreed with you on that one, and he also mentioned Tampa Bay winning the Cup this year. Talking about the Tampa Bay.
Oof.
Dead
so shout
wrong.
out to Riley, our new listener from Florida.
What's up, Riley? What's happening? Welcome to the SportsBros Podcast family.
Awesome. Eddie Cool, I love the way that you said that you didn't see it coming with the St. Louis Rams and the Patriots. You know who did see it coming? The Patriots with all their
right.
They saw it. They weren't supposed to see it, but they saw it. Okay,
I synced it, and they synced it. That was what they did. All right. Speaking of the listener section next week, we were talking about it yesterday because, in case you guys don't know, we do have throughout the week we communicate and bounce topics and everything and subjects off of each other. And this one is very funny. I kind of, spoiler alert, I kind of leaked it to some of my coworkers, and this is going to be a great one. So, Scotty D, what will be next week's question in our listener section program? I mean, listener section portion of the show.
Well, let me first tell you what my prediction was that was incorrect.
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then I'll move on to that. But the prediction that to this day I'd never forget how bad it was, and just to piggyback off the draft talk earlier, is the year that Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf came out. I said the Colts, when they took Peyton Manning, I said, "Wow, what a mistake! They could have had Ryan Leaf."
Ugh.
I remember watching Ryan Leaf in the Rose Bowl that year, and what was it, Washington he played for against Michigan, and
Washington State.
Washington State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. And he looked just like the prototypical stud quarterback. And to me, Peyton Manning looked like a scrawny kid. And I thought, man, this Leaf kid is going to be something in the NFL. And wow, was I wrong on that one. So that is my confession as to probably my worst all-time sports prediction. But for next week, we're just going to ask you, what sports team do you think has the ugliest uniforms? The fuggliest. It could be college, pro, past, present. You might say Oregon. The Oregon Ducks are pretty ugly. That's not going to be mine, but that's an example of one that, a lot of people actually like the Oregon uniforms. I think they're ugly, but what sports, any sport you got, just, get your ears on and give us some voices on that. The choices of the voices next week. We're going to ask for the ugliest uniform in sports.
Shout out to J.R. Speaks, Stephen Dellamore, Eli Kavanaugh, Corey Rayner, and Riley for participating in this week's listener section. And Be Live, if they want to have input on the listener section, can you tell them where they can reach us at?
Well, I will let them know in just a second after I
want to hear your wrong prediction.
Well, wait a minute. What in the hell is going on with me today?
Like we gonna try to get there. But I actually got a couple of them. They're pretty recent though, because I'll tell you right now, when it came to Baker Mayfield, I was just wrong. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was wrong about Baker Mayfield. I called him another Johnny Manziel. Like, his antics on the field it just seemed the same to me. And he proved me dead wrong. And man, I'm telling you right now, like I think I said in a couple of podcasts, couple episodes ago, that I might say Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna tell you right now, Baker Mayfield, wrong. I was wrong about you, sir, and I want to formally apologize. I'm so
now
sorry.
there's Be Live and newest Cleveland Brown rookie cornerback Greedy Williams predicting them going to the Super Bowl.
I absolutely see it.
That's a cool name, Greedy Williams, as a defensive back. Gimme, Greedy.
I like
Greedy.
that.
I like that. Some nicknames like, come on, man, are you serious? But Greedy Williams is perfect.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, we got everything out the way. Are we good now, guys?
All right. I think I'm ready to let the people know where they can reach us at. So, our main podcast website where you can actually leave voice messages and possibly get heard on the show, you can go to anchor.fm/the SportsBros, all one word, of course, TheSportsBros. You can go to our Facebook page, SportsBros Podcast, SportsBros, one word. You can go on there, leave a comment about that. You can also go to our newest addition to the SportsBros family, our Twitter page, which would be at SportsBros PCast. I think it's the SportsBros PCast, all one word, of course. And as you're already listening, we're actually working on a YouTube page. We do have a YouTube page. We haven't uploaded anything yet because we got to get through all of the licensing and copyright and stuff like that. You can go there. We're going to be trying to upload our podcast there, and we're also going to try to upload our What Happened Wednesdays and
Tranquilo
Thursday.
How old are we? 12?
Right. Well, just for those that may not know, me and him have been best friends for over 20 years, so that's how we sync up like that. That's how we do things. But yeah, we have so many outlets that we're working on, man. We are expanding the brand. Hashtag expand the brand. Sports Bros Podcast, man. We're very excited. Thank you to everybody. I want to go ahead and take this moment. Thank you to everybody that joined our Facebook like page. We actually grew our audience by, right now we're looking at 250 people in the past 24 hours that have joined our Sports Bros family on Facebook, man. I'm holding on to my cell phone on my day off all day long, just looking at the amount of people that are showing us love and support. So I want to tell you, thank you so much, man. It's awesome.
And also, Scotty D, we had a conversation earlier before we recorded, and we're gonna try to squeeze you in with, what do you call it, Scott? What's your portion going to be called?
We might start looking at some of Scott's thoughts on Fridays. I think that might be our next deal here. I'm going to get involved in the video game and start putting some posts out on Facebook. So we'll look forward to that. We'll get that working.
Nice.
Scott starts, and we're also, Scott doesn't know it yet, but we're also going to get his Instagram popping. That'll be too old for Instagram. So
I'm too old. I'm mid to late 40s.
Yeah, we're going to get that popping. It's going to be.
I don't meet the guideline.
It's going to be too old for Instagram coming soon. It's going to be great. All right, we get to that portion of the show where we go 1, 2, 3, and make our pepper points in a round of pepper. So I will go first, and then when I'm through, I'll decide who I want to throw to. All right. The Cowboys make rookie defensive tackle Tristan Hill sign a work ethic contract. To steal a phrase from the almighty Be Live, what happened? If I'm a team and if I'm drafting you and you have work ethic issues, I may not look at you. I may look right past you, because think about it, son. There's a lot of people that want your job. Matter of fact, it's close to your teammates that want your job. So, sign that contract and do what you're supposed to do. All right, Scott. Boom. Ball goes to you.
Cowboys, Super Bowl. There you go. All right, my first point I want to throw out there is how much I used to be in love with the sport of boxing. And there's just not a lot drawing you in anymore. But last week, against my better judgment, I stayed up the night before Easter real late watching Amir Khan go after Terrence Crawford. And when I say go after, I mean I think he was going after his belt by any means, because in the 6th round, he got hit low and then quit. And I think he was trying to get that belt by disqualification. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But I've watched UFC fighters dislocate their toes and fight 3 or 4 more rounds. This guy got hit low. When I say low, he got hit in the thigh. It wasn't even in the Franks and Beans, and he quit in the 6th round. Boxing, you got a black eye.
All right, B-Live, what's your pepper point?
Well, I've been trying, but it's not my time. Pepper point, Clemson. It's happening. I'm letting you know off rip, all 3 of my points is going to be about Clemson.
No.
The first... Yes,
Here we go,
happening.
Scott. Here we go.
Yes, it's absolutely going to happen. My first one is I might have to be a low-key Oakland Raider fan.
What?
Because you know what? I might have to be a low-key Oakland/Las Vegas Raider fan, because they drafted not 1, not 2, but 3 of my beloved Clemson Tigers: Cleveland Farrell, Trayvon Mullen, and the hometown hero, Hunter Renfrow, Socastee, South Carolina, Socastee High School by way of Myrtle Beach. Hunter Renfrow, 2-time national champion.
2 of them things.
I'm telling you, man, I'm so excited to see what he does and what all of them do in the NFL. The Raiders.
Hey, since you speak of the Raiders, did you see the Las Vegas Raiders draft party? Yeah, there were 10 total people in the bar. 5 of them were employees.
Oh, God.
I'm like, okay, somebody's real excited about getting a storied NFL franchise. I mean, it's the Raiders, just like you say. So we go back around to me. All right, so here we go. My second pepper point is a shout out and mad respect to WWE referee Tom Castro. You're probably asking, Eddie Cool, why in the hell is a wrestling referee on your pepper point? I'll tell you why. Because referees also have a vital role in the completion of matches as well, too, because they have, well, we'll save that for the Wrestle Bros podcast. TBD, not yet, but TBD. Tom Castro, right? There's a video circulating around social media of him breaking his leg after a spot where the wrestler ran to each other and the wrestler went one way, Tom Castro went one way, and his leg went the other way. But guess what, though? I will give Tom Castro credit because he finished the match. He counted the 1, 2, 3, but he rolled over in agony and pain. And best wishes to Tom Castro, a consummate professional. Did you guys see that video?
Ooh. Yeah, that was nasty.
Can't watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video, just think of what was the kid from Louisville named, Scott?
Kevin Ware, I believe.
Yeah, just think of that. All right, Scotty D, I'm passing the ball to you once again.
All right, this past Friday, and probably the most anticipated baseball debut since Bryce Harper, Vladimir Guerrero's son made his debut with the Toronto Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero, I actually watched one time hit a ball, got a base hit that bounced in the dirt first. That dude was a free swinger, and I loved him. And I hope his kid's that much fun to watch. On Friday night, he led off the 9th inning with a double. They put a pinch runner in, and that pinch runner came around and scored. So that was a cool debut for Vlad Jr.
Vlad the Impaler. Let me tell you something. If he's going to be anything like his daddy, get ready for it.
It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, he's fun.
Because his daddy put bat to ball and it went way out the park. And I saw a video was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday he had batting practice and he was busting them out the park then. So shout out to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You know, I don't know if you look like your daddy, but boy, you hit just like your daddy. Be live. Your pepper point.
All right, pepper point number 2. Clemson basketball. Clemson basketball assistant head coach Steve Smith might have been recorded via wiretap about Clemson's pursuit of Zion Williamson.
Gasp.
And the potential possibility that Clemson was willing to pay to get Zion Williamson to come to school, but was found to not have enough goods, and Zion wasn't coming to Clemson. So guess what? Clemson might have taken a black eye, but they end up at the end of the day doing nothing wrong per se. And then the assistant coach tried to implement something about the football program, but to no avail or whatever, saying that the football program's tight-knit and the resources that the football program has, I mean, building a 9-figure facility, that's some resources. The basketball program's just not that known yet. So it hurt me near and dear to my heart, because I can't even fathom my team possibly doing something wrong. But guess what? I'm going to say it. Every college does it.
Yeah, that's true. Every college does it. Just ask Arizona and Louisville. Ask them. All right, third and final pepper point. I want to also give a shout out to Seabass, also known as Sebastian Janikowski, who retires after 19 years of kicking a football in the NFL. I swear Sebastian Janikowski has been in the league since I've been out of high school. Or maybe when I was in middle school. But anyways, he's been around for a mighty long time. One of the stronger legs in the league. Hanging it up. Because guess what? He ain't tackling nobody on no kickoff returns. You can forget about that. You can forget.
That's not happening.
No, he's not going to do it. What's the kicker from the Falcons? Was it? You know who I'm talking about, B-Live. I'm not going to. How he did the double-A spine buster on the guy from the Panthers.
Oh, God, I don't want to talk about that.
I think they're like, hey, son, come here. You slamming that kid mighty hard. Come pee in this cup. Yeah. All right, Scotty D.
Sebastian Janikowski, man, he had a similar physique to, what was that quarterback's name? Played for Kentucky.
I knew it. I knew it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another action-packed edition.
I knew it.
Sebastian Janikowski, the hefty left-footed kicker.
Oh man.
All right, finally, I just want to tell you what kind of misery I am in on a night-to-night basis because I'm a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, and they just lost 8 in a row, and they're back to under 500, and they're going to stay there because I can't stand the manager. I'm ready for a new coach. Clint Hurdle's got to go from Pittsburgh, and that's all I have to say about that.
Wasn't Clint Hurdle the man a few years ago when they went back to the playoffs?
Yeah, but, I mean, the time has come, man. Come on. I mean, Joe Torre won 4 World Series with the Yankees, but then his day came. Clint Hurdle's never won anything, and he's just lingering around the Pittsburgh dugout making stupid choices and chewing bubblegum, and I've had it.
Like chewing that gum like Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
All right, B-Live, last pepper point.
All right. Number 3, Clemson baseball. Yes. I'm going all the way around the horn with
literally
Clemson baseball. I want to give a quick shout out though to our new minor league team here where I reside in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, and their star player from Clemson University, Seth Beer. Yes, Seth Beer, the heralded Seth Beer, greatest name ever, is residing temporarily in Fayetteville, North Carolina before he heads off to the majors. He has I believe he was a first round draft pick for the Houston Astros, and the Woodpeckers are a Houston Astros affiliate. So I am hoping that Max Speed Shop will allow brother to have a day off very soon so I can see him in action before he runs off to the majors. So a shout out to Clemson baseball, to the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. If you have a media position at the Woodpeckers, I want you to hear this and consider a brother, consider all
three of us. Yes, we like baseball.
I'm
we like sports.
All of it.
Yeah, we like sports.
So you did 3 pepper points about Clemson. And you didn't mention Dabo Sweeney's new contract?
There you go. Thank you. See, the thing that absolutely did happen because you know what? I wanted to let the listeners know how well-rounded I am.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to Clemson athletics, it's not just football. When it comes to the reigning, defending, undisputed, 2-time in the past 3-year national champion Clemson Tiger football program, led by the now 10-year, $93 million man, Dabo Sweeney, which includes in his contract $2.5 million a year in licensing fees. So everything that you hear about, hashtag all in, bring your own guts, best is the standard, that is all licensed by Dabo Sweeney. $2.5 million a year.
You can't blame him for going all in on the guy. I mean, he's well prepared, formulating game plans. He recruits quality young men. He heals the sick. He stops blindness. He walks on water. I mean, he does it all. So shout out to Dabo.
Shout out to Dabo.
But included in that, because since you done got me started, I'm going to finish on this note. I'm going to leave it alone. But they also extended Coach Brent Venables' contract an additional year, making him the second highest paid assistant football coach, and I believe at $2.2 million a year. So not only is he getting paid, the best defensive coach in the game is getting paid as well. So game recognizes game, talent recognizes talent, and that goes right back to 3 defensive linemen getting drafted, and 3 of them getting drafted in the first round. Then you throw in Austin Bryant. I believe he got drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. Albert Huggins, I think he
I'm
went
about to
undrafted.
tell you the spoiler for the Avengers if you keep going with this.
Oh boy,
okay.
no.
I'm about to give you the spoiler. We get it. Clemson had a good weekend. We get it.
All right, but I will say this. This is gonna be a hot take, but I will say this. Nick Saban as a coach, you're good, but Dabo is pretty damn special. For me, being a Gamecocks fan, I'm damn near about to fall out the chair saying that. But hey, game recognized game, and you got to give respect, where it's due, because Dabo has literally has made something out of nothing. Speaking of something out of nothing, something we forgot to touch upon is Steve Smith eviscerating, giving it to him, all the smoke on Josh Rosen. Real quick, B-Live, what you got to say about that?
Man, I'm not even going to lie to you. This is a spoiler alert. I'm going to save that for what happened Wednesday. Because that right there, I gotta give a little bit more time because he lit him up.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And it was all major, super S on the chest facts.
Yeah, he let him have it. Scott, are you aware of the situation about Steve Smith tearing a new one into Josh Rosen?
I heard about it. I didn't see the whole thing yet, so I guess I'll tune into what happened Wednesday.
Ooh, that's perfect segue. What happened Wednesdays?
Sweet.
All right. So with that being said, that wraps up the 8th episode, Ocho or Otta, as they say in Swedish. If I'm butchering the Swedish language, please let me know, and I will make corrections to be more enunciated when it comes to speaking in the wonderful Swedish language. There's another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. We're going to do a little different this time. Scotty D, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Overtime Sports Cafe.
Now, see, here you go, man. We done had this conversation.
We're so used to saying that.
It's so hard
I tell you what.
to say goodbye. Go ahead.
I tell you what, though, if you're in the Myrtle Beach area and you have not been to Beast Ninja, that is the obstacle course I work at. It's an American Ninja Warrior style obstacle course that's on 501 across from Tanger Outlets. Come by there and give that a try. Online, Scott Donnelly on Facebook, Donnelly, and again, I guess in the very near future, we'll start doing some of Scott's thoughts on Facebook.
And Too Old for Instagram, coming soon. Be Live, where can they reach you?
Oh, man. The workplace is where you can find me most of the time. Max Speed Shop in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can come see me. I will have every single game you can think of imaginable on the TV. I control it all. I really don't. Sorry to my GM, Sampson. You know what? He does control it, but I'm the man next to the man next to the man. But when it comes to social media, you can definitely find me on Facebook. My name is Brian Livingston, putting out the government out there.
Government. We ain't got nothing to hide. We ain't scared.
Not all the government. So can't give the middle name, even though shout out to Eddie Cool and JR Speaks, because we all 3 of us have the same middle name, but we're going to leave it at
that.
That's it. 20 plus years of friendship. But you can find me also on Twitter. This be your boy, Be Live, without an I. So THSBEYABOYBLIVE. All right, cool. That is my Twitter and Instagram handle. And so, I mean, and then you can find me on Wednesdays, hashtag what
Wait.
happened, WUHHAPND Wednesdays. So you can catch me on that every Wednesday, man. I am coming up on episode 11 of that. Can you believe
Wow,
that?
11?
Almost 3 months of what happened Wednesdays, man. I love it, man. It's getting so much buzz where I work at. There was a couple times I actually reached over 1,000 views. I don't know who all these people are, but thank you, and thank you.
Keep on watching. Keep on watching. Of course, you know me, the HOC up in this. Cool, the head of creative. You can reach me at, Facebook, my Facebook profile, Eddie Cool. Also, I'm also on the Sports Bros Podcast light page on Facebook at Sports Bros Podcast. Also, me and B Live are also bouncing around on Twitter at the Sports Bros Pcast, like peanut, pecan, Sports Bros Pcast. You can You can also catch me on Instagram at Cool Season, all one word. That's KOOLSEASON. And you can even catch me on Snapchat at Super Cool 5000. That's the word Super Cool, cool with a K, and the number 5000. 5000. All right, fellas, we good here? Everything's fine here? Everybody good?
Let me do one last plug before we head out, because I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm going to give a quick shout out to a future business partner.
Oh, yes.
I want to give a very special thank you to Lorenzen Livingston, the super ultra master sergeant of the world, Craig. He is a decorated member of the United States Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
He is also a member of Legal Shield. And we are definitely looking forward into going into business with him. So we definitely want to promote Legal Shield, and a sincere thank you to Lorenzen Livingston for all of your support.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you
sir.
very
We
much.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you for your service
Support
and your
troops.
support. And speaking of sponsorship, if you are a small business and you're interested into advertising with the Sports Bros Podcast, let us know. Feel free to let us know. You can hit us up on our various social media platforms, and I think I'm going to create us a business email, if you will. So that way, we'll iron all that out by next week. And if you're interested, please let us know. Let us know, because we enjoy doing what we do, and we enjoy you listening. And for someone to say, "Hey guys, we want to, one little ad on your sports program," that means the world to us, because guess what? That means we're reaching someone, and it's kind of like, hey, you come listen to the podcast, we'll advertise your business, and it works hand in hand. See, that's how it works. And so with that being said, this is the head of creative, Eddie Cool, and for the almighty B Live and the money man, Scotty D, we are the Sports Bros. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They will greatly appreciate it. This is Sports Bros Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Yes, sir.